Welcome to Flutter Android and iOS e-commerce application with admin web portal using Firebase as backend. In this course, you will learn how to integrate a fully functional online payment system, that is the Visa and MasterCard system, credit card system, that is using Stripe. We will develop fully functional online payment system for the Android and iOS. You will learn how to add a promo system to your Flutter e-commerce application. That is, if I click on Lights promo, it is going to show me the Lights categories products, and you can manage and update promos from the admin web panel. For example, I can add a new promo from here for the category vehicles, and then when I add, the new promo added. Similarly, you can update or delete any promo from the promos page in the admin web portal. As you can see, the new promo will start appearing in the user's app. You will learn how to add banner system, as you can see, and these banners you can control from the admin web portal. You can update the current banners or you can add new banners from the admin web portal. In this course, you will learn how to add a coupon system, which is the special offers. Now, these coupon codes you can add and manage from the admin web portal. You can update the current one or add a new coupon with how much discount you want to give to the users when they apply this specific code at the checkout. Then the user will start seeing this new coupon in the user's app. Now, if the user places order, then at the checkout the user can apply this coupon code. If the coupon code is correct, then you see the discount is applied. You will learn how to add a category system, and these categories you can control as an admin of the app from the admin web portal. Each category has its priority number. So for example, if you want to make any category a top pick for the users in the user's app, then you can update its category number. So for example, if I increase the beauty category, it will become the top one. As you can see, beauty is now at the top one and it becomes the top pick for the users as well, which you can see here. So any category you can update or delete, or you can update also the priority number for each category. Similarly, you can add new categories by clicking here and giving the category its name and the priority number, that is in which number you want to display it. So if you want it as a top priority, you can give it a higher number than the current categories, select image and add a new category, as you can see, which is added here. Now if the user come here and click on this category, so currently it is empty as there is no product uploaded by the admin yet. In the admin web portal, if the admin go to the products, then the admin can see all the products and the admin can filter out each product based on its category name. You can add new products based on the categories. Let's add a new product to the category beverages, which is the new category which we just added. So this will be the first product in the beverages category. So when you add product, as you can see, it has been added to the beverages category. The users will start seeing in the user's app at real time. You will learn how to implement a fully functional advanced cart system where the user can add product or delete products, or the user can also increase the quantity for each product. You will learn how to add a coupon system, discount system in the Flutter e-commerce application for the Android and iOS, and then you will learn, of course, how to integrate a fully functional online payment system using Stripe. In this course, you will also learn how to implement the order tracking system. The admin from the orders tab can filter out the orders which are just placed, that is paid, the orders on the way, the orders which are delivered, and the orders which are cancelled. This order which is just placed by the user, as you can see. Now let's say the admin packed this order and the admin shipped this order. So the status of this order will becomes on the way, and the user will see this at real time in the user's app that his order has been shipped and the status is on the way. Similarly, when the order is delivered to the user, then the admin can mark that as delivered, and you will see that the status becomes now delivered. As there can be thousands of orders placed from different users, so you will also learn how to implement a search feature where the admin can search order by name, by username, and the admin can also search order by order ID. So in this course, you will learn how to create Android and iOS e-commerce application, as well as a beautiful admin web panel where you can control all the total categories, total products, total orders, orders which are shipped, which are not shipped, which are cancelled. All these things you will learn in this course. Let's start this project. Open up Android Studio, click on New Flutter Project. Make sure that Flutter you clicked here and then click Next. Here we have to write our project name. So write your project name, for example, e-commerce app. We will say Snapshop e-commerce app. And then you can write the description for this project. So we will say that this is Flutter iOS and Android e-commerce app for the end users. Then for which platforms it is for the Android and iOS. And here you write your name, for example, your name, and then click create. A new project has been created. Now here we have to make sure that from the right panel, make sure that you select the project. In here we have lib, and this is the main.dot file inside the lib. Let's remove the extra code, the extra comments, and then we will set the title for this e-commerce app. And then just for the testing, we will add here a scaffold widget, and at the center of the body we will display a text message. Now let's connect our Flutter project with the Firebase for the Android and iOS. Go to Google, search for Firebase console, click on go to console, and here create a Firebase project. Write your project name and then click on continue. Then continue, and select your account, default account, then create project. So the Firebase project is created. Now you have to select it for the Android and iOS, but first let's enable the services, Firebase services, which we'll be using. For example, the Firebase Authentication for the email and password, enable it. Then the Firestore database, let's create that also, enable it by simply clicking here, create database, click next, start in production mode, create. Now go to the rules and set the read write to true, then publish. Then go to the Android Studio and pubspec.yaml file. We will add the dependencies for using the Firebase services. So we use Firebase core in order to initialize the Firebase in our Flutter project, then Firebase auth for authentication, and Cloud Firestore for the Firestore database. There are also other services like storage. We will not be using the Firebase storage, but for example, if you want to use the Firebase storage, let's say in your other projects, then you can add the dependency like this and click on the pub-get in order to install it in your Flutter project. Then go to the project settings. Now first let's connect it for the Android. So click on Android icon and then go to your project, and inside Android app build.gradle file, copy the application ID. Make sure to remove the extra underscores and then copy the application ID and paste it here in the Firebase console. Give this name as Android app, then register app. Then download the Google Services.json file as it is inside the downloads folder. Copy this file and you have to paste it inside the app folder. Then we have to click next, and we will add this, copy this, and inside the build.gradle file at the top we will paste it here. Then the minimum SDK, set this to 24, and then inside the project level, Android project level, which is settings.gradle file, here inside the plugins, copy this and we have to paste it. So this is all about the Android setup. Now make the main function asynchronous, and then we will initialize the Firebase in the main function, and then open up the Android phone, your Android phone or your Android emulator, in order to test the application. Select the phone from this drop down and click the play button. Now if it shows you this NDK version error, then make sure to copy the same NDK version which it shows, copy it, and then go to the Android app build.gradle file, and in here we will remove this NDK version and paste it this one. Now let's install the app again on the phone. So the app runs successfully. So our Flutter project is connected with Firebase for the Android successfully. Now let's connect our Flutter project with the Firebase for the iOS. Click on Add App, iOS, and here you have to write your bundle identifiers. Open up your Xcode and open existing project, our new project. And our new project iOS module selected, and then click open. Now click on runner and click on sign in and this one, and then in here you have to choose your development team, copy the bundle identifier and then paste it in here, give it name iOS app, click register app, then download the Google Services info.plist file, and then click next, continue to console. The file is in our downloads folder. Now in case of iOS, this file we have to move to our project folder. So close the Xcode first, minimize the browser, Android Studio, and then open up the project folder. To this we will move from the downloads folder this file Google Services info.plist to our project folder. Then open up Xcode again, the iOS module of our this Flutter project, open it up, and then we have to drag and drop this Google Services info.plist file below the runner, just like this. Make sure to check finish. Then we have to close the Xcode and come back to the Android Studio, and then go to the iOS port file, remove this comment from the platform, and we will change the platform to minimum 16.0, and then open up the terminal and write the command cd iOS, then run the command pod install. Now after that you have to open up Xcode again, the iOS module of your project in Xcode. You can open it like this, and then select the iPhone simulator from here, any simulator you want, you can choose and then click on the play button in order to install the iOS app on the iPhone. So the app runs successfully, which means that we have successfully connected our Flutter project with Firebase for the iOS. Now let's implement the sign in and sign up pages. So right click on lib, new, create a new folder by the name views. Inside the views, we will create another folder by the name auth. So sign in and sign up falls under the auth category. So inside the auth folder, we will create first our sign up, or you can say create account page. Import the material.dart and the stateful widget. We will give it name as the create account page. Return scaffold widget. The background color will be colors.gray with shade 50. Body single child scroll view. Form widget. For the sign up form, we need a form key. So initialize a global key with form state by the name form global key. Child column widget. First we add some space, then we will display an image logo. So I have provided these 3 images. Please download. Once you download it, then copy it, and then in our project we are going to create a new folder by the name images, and then inside the images we will paste these images, these 3 images, and then we have to include this images in the pubspec.yaml file. So we can say assets, and include the images folder like that. Click pubget, and that's it. Since we are not using the Firebase storage, so you can remove this Firebase storage dependency. If you have added it already, then please remove. Click pubget. Then in here we can add the image from the asset, which is inside the images folder, and the images by this name. Then some space, and then we add padding widget, padding symmetric, which is horizontally 20, and then column widget, cross-axis alignment dot center. Children widget, we add a text sign up, and then we add some space, and then another text which is create a new account and start shopping. Then after it we will add some space. Now we need the text editing controllers to take input from the user. So we add the name text editing controller, then the email and password text editing controller. Now here we forgot to add a children widget, since you know that column is a multi-children widget, so please add that. For example, I will cut this, Control X, and then you can say children widget, and in here we can paste the code. Now let's add our first text field, padding widget, apply padding horizontally 20, and then text form field, validator value, and we check if the value is empty, which means that if the text form field is empty, then we will say that name cannot be empty, else if it is not empty, then return null. Then controller is the name text editing controller, and let's apply some input decoration, outline input border, label for this will be name. Then after it we will add some space, and then another text form field which is for the email. And then the last one will be password text form field. So we say validator, and we check if the length of the password text form field, that is the input which the user typed, if the length of it is less than @ then we will say to the user that is password should be at least @ characters, otherwise return null. Controller is the password text editing controller, and it will be in secure form, that is in dotted form, so obscure text will be true, and apply some decoration on it. We add the button, the sign up button. The width for this will be according to the screen width, it will be 90%, and the height of this will be 50. When we say child elevated button, we add the click event on pressed, and then we apply some style on this elevated button. Elevated button dot style from the background color green, and the text, or you can say the foreground color, will be white. Then child text, and it is a sign up button. After this sign up button, we will have some space, we will add some space, and then we will add a row widget in which we will first make sure that main axis alignment is at the center, that is any widget inside this row will be at the center. Then we add the text widget, and then a text button which will be login. Already have an account, login. And then after this row we will add some space, and then now let's go to the main.dart, and we will remove this default testing code which we added, and for now we will say the home, that is our first page, is the create account page. Open up the phone, the emulator, or if you have your real phone, connect it to your laptop or computer and install the app on your real phone. Now let's implement the UI of the sign-in page. So right click on auth, new dot file. We will give it name as login page. Import the material dot stateful widget login page. Return scaffold widget with background color gray with shade 50. Body single child scroll view, child column children widget. We display the image underscore login from the images folder, then size box, then text welcome back, then size box height 6, then another text message sign in to continue, or you can say login to continue. We will add the text form fields. So just like we did here, we need a form global key and the text editing controller. So for the login, we need the email and password text editing fields. So go to the create account page, and we need the same form from here. So you can simply copy this form and paste it in here on the login page. Now here we need remove this, also this extra size box, and also this padding and size box. We need only the controller, the text field, which is for example the email text form field, then the password text form field, and then we will have the login button, and then comes the don't have an account, sign up. Now from the meta.dart, let's check out the UI of the login page. So this is the login page, and let's move it to center. wrap this single child scroll view with center widget. Now also let's define the custom fonts for our this app. So I have already provided this couture font. Copy it, download it, and then copy it and paste it. Let's create a new folder first by the name fonts, and then paste it inside the fonts folder. Go to the pubspec.yaml and let's include the fonts. The fonts which we are using, the family of this is couture, so please write the same spellings because with the same names we will access it in our app. As well as please follow the same indentation. So it is inside the fonts folder and the name is this one, so make sure to write the exact name. Please make sure that you follow the same indentation, like font F is here, then below N we have this, okay, and then F, below this family F you have fonts, and then below this N fonts we have this dash starting like this, okay, no extra spacing, otherwise you will get errors. Click on PubCat. Then on the main.dart, to the theme data, we add the font family, and the font family name is couture. So this will be the default font for our entire app text. It will be applied on all the text throughout our entire app. And the color scheme, we will proceed with the green color, and we will use material 3 true. Also we want to remove this debug banner, so we can say debug show check mode banner and set it to false. So this is how it looks. Now let's define the roots. So you can say roots. So the first root is the login root, for which we have to define the page name. So for example, we can say context, and it is the login page. Then we have our second page. Currently we have only 2 pages created yet. That is the sign up page. So we will give it name as sign up, and which is by the name create account page. So now on the login page, when the user click on don't have an account sign up, we send the user to the create account page. So we can say navigator dot put name context comma and then the root name. For example, now to send the user to the sign up page, you will need this exact root name. So we can say sign up. And then for the create account page, where we have already have an account login, then it is login root. So now let's test the application. Click on sign up. We are on the sign up page and then already have an account login. Now let's allow the user to sign up using the Firebase Authentication and the Firestore database. So on our create account page, as soon as the user click on the sign up button, we will check if form key current state dot validate. We validate the form key, which simply means that the form field must be filled. Let's create a new folder for the logics, the view model. So for example, inside the lib, let's create a new folder first. by the name view model, and then inside this folder we will create a dot file by the name auth underscore services view model, or let's give it a short name, auth view model. So this class, which is auth view model, here we will implement the logic, or you can say the backend, for the backend logic for the creating user account with email and password. This function will receive two parameters like the username and the user email, and the third parameter will be the user password. Inside the try catch block, and this is basically the Firebase auth exception, that is in case if any error occur during the user Firebase authentication. Because first we will write the code for authenticating the user, that it create user with email and password inside the Firebase authentication. Once it is done, then we will save that user info in the Firestore database. In case of exception, we have to return the exception message, otherwise we will implement the logic for creating the user account using Firebase authentication. Create user with email and password. So this is basically the parameter which we will receive. So I will give it a different name just to differentiate it. So the first parameter we need to pass to the Firebase authentication is the user email, and the second one is the user password. So simply pass to it. So it will basically create user account inside the Firebase authentication with a unique user UID assigned to each new user. Now we need to save the user information to the Firestore database. So after this method, we will create a new function by the name save user data, and this will be a synchronous function, and where we required the username and we also required the user email. Then inside the try block, we will create a data map about the user data, which will be of type string dynamic. String represents the key name, dynamic means the value of it. So for example, we have the name key, and the value is inside the name variable, which we receive here as parameter. Second, we have the email, and the value is inside the user email variable. Then we create a reference to the Firestore database like this, dot collection users, that is inside the parent users collection. Each user record will be saved under each user unique ID dot set data, and the user data will be saved to it. And then inside the catch block, if any exception occur, we will display that. Make sure to import Firestore database, which belongs to Cloud Firestore, and Firebase auth, which belongs to the Firebase auth. So this is about save, or you can say storing the user data to Firestore database. So can say wait and call that function from here, which is store user data, to which we pass the name, the username, and the user email as parameter. So in this way, it will save the user data to the Firestore database, to the user's main collection. Under each user ID, each user record will be saved. So we can return that account created. Please use the same keyword. For example, we will say sign up successful, because based on this specific words, which is sign up successful, we will display a message to the user on the user interface. For example, now on the create account page, first we will initialize an instance of our AuthView model. So we can say AuthView model class, the instance name of it, and now we can say AuthView model dot create user account with email and password, to which we have to pass the name, email, and password of the user. So you know that the name we have to get from the name text editing controller, that is from the name text field. If there are extra empty spaces, we have to remove using the .trim. Similarly, we have email, then get the password from password text field. And then we will check for the information, that is, for example, we will say .then, let's say status. So we will check if the status become equals to the sign up successful. If the status is this one, it means that the logic executes successfully and the user account is already created now. So we have to display on the user interface to the user that your account created successfully. So we can say scaffold messenger dot of context dot show snack bar, and the content will be text using text widget, and then the message will be, you can say, congratulations, your account created. And then once the account is created successfully, then we have to send the user to the home page. So for now let's create quickly a new page. Right click on the views, new, first create a new folder. On the home page, basically we will have four buttons on the bottom navigation. So we can give this name as bottom nav, which means bottom navigation views. So for example, right click on bottom nav, new, create a dot file, that is that page. The first page name will be home page. Import the material dot stateful widget, and for now we will just say scaffold widget, and at the body, at the center, we will display a text which will be welcome to home. Now let's quickly add the root for it. So can say home, which means home page, the root for home page. So now when the user account is created successfully, after displaying the snack bar message, we will send the user to the home page. So we can send navigator dot restorable push name until remove context home, root false. Now in case if there any error occur, then the else part will execute, and in that case we will also display a message using the snack bar, and that will be, for example, the real that error message we can get using the status, as you know that this status will give us the return values. In case of successful account creation, it will return sign up successful, and in case of exception, it will return this exception error message. So that's why we can say status. Now let's install the app on the phone. Let's go to sign up. So let's say the username is Olivia. So when we click on sign up, you can see your account created successfully. We are sent to the home page, and now if we go to the Firebase console, Firebase Authentication, you see that the user is authenticated successfully. Then go to the Firestore database, and the user's collection is created, and our first user has its own unique ID under which the user information is saved. Now let's implement the login feature. So from the login page, we will first validate the form when the user click on the login button, just like we did here on the create account page. Now let's implement the function on the auth view model about the login user. Login with email and password, which will receive user email and user password as parameter. And then inside the try block, we will say firebase.instance.signin with email and password, which require two parameters. First one is the email, user email, then the password, which is the user password. And then we will return login successful if it is successful attempt with the Firebase authentication. Otherwise, Firebase exception we have to get in case of error, and that exception message we will return. So now on the login page, we create an instance of our class, which is auth view model, and then you can say auth view model dot login with email and password, and the email and password we have to pass to it as a parameter. So for example, the email we can get from the email text field, the password we can get from the password text field. We can say dot then, and then we have to get the status of the login, whether it is successful or if there is any error. So for example, we will check if the status is equals to login successful. It means everything goes successfully. We will display a snack bar message using the scaffold messenger, and we will say to the user, you are logged in successfully, and send the user to the home screen, to the home page. Now the else part will be the exception, that is in case of error. So it will be similar to just like we did on the create account page. So copy the else part from here and simply paste it here. Now let's test the application on the phone. You are logged in successfully. Of course, in case of error, that is, let's say if your password or email is incorrect, let's try it. Let's say with any wrong password, then it will display the error message, the exception message. Now we have to add the bottom navigation to the home page. So let's go to the homepage right dot, and in here on the home page we will implement a bottom navigation bar with 4 buttons. So right click on bottom navigation, new, let's create a new folder by the name nav pages. Now inside the nav pages, we are going to create those pages. For example, we will have a default page where the user will see all the categories, banners, all the products. And then the next one will be orders page. Then the new one will be the cart page, user cart. And then of course the last one is the profile page, the user profile page. Now what we can do is we will just copy this home page basic code and we will paste it here, here, here and here. Now let's rename this. For example, this is profile page, so select this, right click on it, and then you can say rename, and we will rename it to profile. Click refactor, just like this, and you can say of course this is profile. Then comes the cart page, select this like this, okay, and then click rename, and then the page name, which is cart page. Click refactor, and then comes the orders page. Let's select this and rename, and this is orders page. And then the default one, we will say home page. This is default page, okay, and then select this name and let's rename it to default page. Now let's come back to the homepage.dart, and first of all we need to remove this center widget from here. We will initialize integer type chosen index variable with 0. Then the pages that we will have, so a list by the name nav pages, and for example at the first index we will have default page, then order page, then cart page and profile page. Make sure to import them. Now using this chosen index, we will track the index number on which the user click. For example, if the user click on order page icon button, which we will implement now, so the index will be 1, and if the user click on cart, then the index will be 2. As you know that 0th index, first index, second index and third index. For example, to the body we will assign the nav pages, and which will change based on the chosen index. That is, the user wants to go to which page, at that specific button the user will click, and which I just explained. For example, the user click on the profile page button on the bottom navigation, it means it is at the third index, so the user will be sent to the profile page, and so on for the other ones. So this is the logic which will handle the navigation between these different pages. Of course, the UI we are implementing now. So for example, after the on tap, the next thing is like the selected item color, like the active button color on which the user just tapped, for example. So it will be green, and the unselected one will be colors dot gray. And alongside with the bottom navigation bar icons, buttons, we will also display the labels. So we say that show selected labels true, show unselected labels true. And now let's display those icon buttons, or you can say the items. So for example, the first one will be for the default page, so we can say icons dot home outline, and then after the icon we can say comma, and let's add a label to it. The label for this will be home. So for example, the first icon button we will have is the home, and the page assigned to it is the default page. Then let's do it for the orders, cart page, and the user profile page in the same order, just like we add these pages to this list. Okay, home is for the default, for the orders we have orders page, for the cart we have cart page, and for the profile we have profile page. Now let's install the app on the phone. So you can see that this is the home page, the default page. Basically this is the default page. Welcome to home page, and then orders, cart, profile. We will complete the user interface of the user profile page, for which we need to fetch the user data from the Firestore database. The user related operations we will manage using the provider state management. So go to the prospect.yml and let's include the new dependency, which is provider. Click pubget in order to install the provider, and now right click on lib, new, create a new folder by the name providers. Right click on providers, new .file, user provider, class user provider, which will extend the change notifier. Initialize the following variables, which is for the user information. So we can say user provider. In here we will call get user data. Let's implement the get user data function. Now let's create a new view model, new .file, and we will give it name as user view model. Class user view model, and here all the user related functions we will implement in here inside the user view model. So for example, the first function is retrieve user data, which we need now. So in here inside this function we will create a reference to the database, to the Firebase Firestore.instance.collection user, that specific user who is currently logged in, that user data we want to fetch. So now on the user provider, we can first create an instance of the user view model, and then we can call the function from the user view model class, which is retrieve user data. Now here we need to listen for the changes in the database. That is, let's say if the user data is updated. So in order to listen for the changes, we have to use stream subscription in Flutter. So for that purpose, we can create an instance of the stream subscription, the document snapshot, user stream subscription, and before getting the user data, we will make sure that we first cancel it and assign the updated data to it. So for example, we say user stream subscription dot cancel, and then to this we assign the user updated data, that is user stream subscription equals to user view model dot retrieve user data dot listen for the changes, which means that the return of this function will be stream document snapshot. As you know that it returns the document snapshot, so we have to listen for the changes. Data snapshot, Now, as you know that the data coming from the database is in JSON format, so we have to convert it to proper normal format. So let's create models. Right click on lib, new models folder. Inside the models folder, the first model class will be the user model class. Define these attributes of the model class. Now remember, these are we will use the same key names. We have used the same key names while storing the user data inside the database. Of course, currently we have only saved the user information like the name and email by these keywords. Okay. So now while fetching, we will make sure that we use the same key names for name, email, as well as later on from the profile page, we will allow the user to update or save his address and phone number. So please make sure that you use the same key names. Through constructor, we can receive, for example, required this name, address, email, and phone. And then convert the data from JSON to object model. So you can say map string dynamic JSON data return user model. So for example, we get the name from JSON data and it will be accessible by the name attribute. And then same, let's say if the name does not exist, let's say if it is returning us a null, or let's say that name even do not exist in the JSON data, then we can say return empty string, like we will have empty string for the name attribute. Same goes for the address, then for the email, and then for the phone. So as soon as we have now the data as we are listening to it, it will comes in JSON format. So we get that data using the data snapshot. For example, data snapshot.data as map string dynamic, as it is in the format key value pair. So key is of type string, value can be any data type. So using the user model.from JSON, we convert it to object model, which simply means that the JSON data is accessible by the attribute of the user model, like the name, JSON data name, that is the username, is accessible by name attribute, the address is accessible by address, the email is accessible by email attribute, and the phone is accessible by phone attribute. And all this we will assign to this user data. Make sure to import the user model. Now this user data contains the user information. For example, we can say now that, like, to access the user information, we can say user data dot, and you see we have access to the user address, user email, username, and user phone, which were the attributes of the user model, and where we convert the data from JSON to object model. That is, the JSON data is accessible by the attributes now of the user model. So we can say, for example, user data.name, and this we will assign to the name of user variable. The email we assign to email of user, the address and phone to the address of user and phone number of user. Then notify the listeners, which means that update the user interface. If there is any changes in the data, it will be updated automatically on the user interface without refreshing the page. Now in here we have to implement the dispose, that is on dispose we will cancel the provider, that is user stream subscription dot cancel. So now we have managed the user information. Now whenever we need the user data, we can access it directly with the help of provider, as we are using the provider stat management. Now how? For example, now on the profile page, using provider. For example, we can say consumer, and the consumer is for the user provider. Builder context user, child. Container, width for this container will be double dot infinity. Padding will be agency.symmetric, vertical, horizontal, 20 and 16. And then we apply some box decoration. Gradient, linear gradient with two colors, begin top left and bottom right. After it, border radius, circular 20 from the left, and from the bottom right it is 20. After the box decoration, we can say child row widget. And first we display a circle avatar with an icon. Radius 32, background color white, icon will be icon.person, size 40, color green with shade 600. Then some space in the expanded widget. Can add column widget. Cross-axis alignment for this column will be from start. Then using the text widget, we display the name of user. Let's apply some text style on it, font weight, font size, and color will be white. Then we display the user email after the name of user. And then of course after this we will add a button. Let's say if the user wants to update his or her profile. So for example, we can say icon button with icon edit outline on pressed, and when the user click on this icon button, we will send the user to the update profile page. Now we have not yet created this page, so for now you can comment out this navigator.push name. So now on our home page, above the widget build, we can add init state, where we will add the provider for the user provider. So we can say provider dot of context, and this is our user provider which we implemented and using which we display the user information on the profile page. So you can say context listen false, and on the main.dart wrap this material app with a widget, and this is now as we have provider, so we can say multi-provider. Currently we have implemented the provider which is the user provider. Later on we will of course implement it for the cart as well, but for now let's just add it for the user provider. So we can say change notifier provider, create context user provider. Now on the user provider, where we cancel the user stream subscription, instead of null check operator, we have to add this exclamation mark. It will only cancel if the user stream subscription is active. Otherwise, no need to cancel. Same we can do here on the on dispose. If it is active, only then cancel. Now you know that whenever the app runs, it creates the user provider. So at the start, if the user is not logged in yet, then on the user view model, this will throw null check operator error because the current user will be null. So we must add here a condition which will check if the Firebase current user, if this become equals to null, then simply return. we will return stream.empty. And since our provider already fetches the data inside the constructor user provider, then we do not need this. We can remove it entirely because our data is already fetching. Let's install the app. On the user profile, the user can check his orders or his order history, but that is something which we will implement later on. For now, we will just add a logout button. So in here on the profile page, we will create a new widget. A new widget function, basically a reusable code build item. It will receive three things as parameter: the icon, the title, and the click event. Also the color, which will be the icon color. So the return type of this is widget, so we can say return list style. At the leading, we will have the icon. At the title, we display the title. Then the third property for the list style is trailing, that is at the right side of it we will display this icon. On tap, which is the click event, which you receive here as parameter. Also, let's implement another reusable widget which we will use, that is basically the divider widget. And it will return divider with the following thickness value, indent, and indent. So for example, now after the consumer, we can add some space, and for now we will just display the logout. The icon will be icon.logout outline, the title logout, color will be red, and then the click event on tap. Firebase auth.instance.signout, and when the user click on it, logout, then sign out the user and send the user to the login page. Now we have to cancel the subscription. For example, on the user provider where we listen for the updates, so this subscription, when the user wants to sign out, now we have to cancel it. So we can say decline provider, and then on the profile page here we can simply say provider dot of user provider context listen false dot cancel decline provider. Now in the same way we will implement the other buttons, or you can say other items, like the discount and offers button, the orders button, but since we have not yet implemented those pages, so that's why we will proceed for now with the logout button only. Logout. can also display divider widget which we implemented. So now if we click on logout, it will log out the user. Now also we have to check that if the user is already logged in, then the user will be sent to the home screen, to the home page. Otherwise the user will be on the login page. So that is something which we have to add here. So in the auth, let's create a new page, basically a code file you can say, which will be check user status. So we can say check user status. Now here on this page, basically we will display a circular progress indicator at the body at the center. Circular progress indicator with color green. Now this will represents the loading, that is something is we are checking. Okay, so the progress indicator will be loading, and during that few seconds, or you can say it will take some 1 second or 2 seconds based on the user internet connection or internet speed. And as I told you guys, we will check if the user is already logged in or not. So in the init state, we check if the current user become equals to null, then send the user to the login page. Otherwise send the user to the home page. Now as we have implemented this condition, now we do not need this default root home, because now we will define here slash, which means the home, or you can say default root, and that will be the check user status, which will be decided based on the user condition, that is the current user status. So if the user is not logged in, send the user to login page. Otherwise send the user to the home page. And wrap this code inside the widgets binding dot instance, add post frame callback, and paste the code inside. Now let's test the application. Now you may have noticed now that I logged in as Olivia, but it displayed the previous user info. The reason is it didn't clear the previous data. So for that purpose, all you need to do is here on the user provider, when we decline the provider, that is user stream subscription, cancel, and make sure to set the name of user and all this variable back to empty string, and then notify the listeners, which means to update the user interface with the new data. For example, each time when a new user logged in, then on the auth view model, when any time when a new user logged in, then we have to call the get user data function each time. So for each new user, it will get the user data. Now to this function, we will pass one more parameter, and that third one parameter basically, and it will be the context. So Here we can receive it. So once you do these changes, now let's install the app on the phone. And now let's first try with John. So each time when a new user logged in, it fetch that logged in user info. Now log out and let's log in as Olivia. Now let's close the end users application and we will start work on the admin web panel in order to upload some promos, categories, banners, and of course the products to each category. The admin can only control the entire system. So let's close this project and let's create a new Flutter project. Make sure Flutter is selected, click next, and here we need to give it name, for example admin web panel, and it is for the e-commerce app. So of course you can write Ecommerce _ admin web panel, and it is only for the web, so uncheck the other ones. Of course here you can write your name and click create. Project has been created. Make sure that from here you select project. If you expand this, here we have live.men.dot as it is only for the web. Now quickly remove the comments, the default code, right click on lib, new, let's create a new folder by the name views, and we will create our first page inside the views. It will be by the name dashboard _ page, import material.dot, stateful widget, dashboard page, return a scaffold widget. We add an app bar to this, the automatic imply leading, which means the back default button, we do not want it, so make sure to set it to false. Background color green, foreground color white, elevation 4, and the shadow color deep purple, title spacing 20. Title row widget, main axis alignment.center, children widget. First we add an icon with a dashboard and then some space, and then we say admin management panel. Let's apply some text style on it. Now we will implement a reusable widget build tile, and it will require some parameters. For example, the icon which we want to display, the label, and the value, and the color. As you know that the return type of this reusable widget, or you can say this reusable function, which will return a widget, apply margin and padding, decoration box decoration, color white, border radius circular 12, box shadow with color gray, shade 200, blur radius 6, and offset 0.3. Then using the row widget after this box decoration, child row widget, children widget, and first we add a circle avatar in which we display. First we add a background color with alpha 38. Before it was known as with opacity, but in the latest new versions we have to set it like color dot with alpha and the value. And then child icon, the icon which we receive here as parameter, we display it inside this circle avatar. And then after it we add some space and then expanded widget text, and using the text widget we display the label which we are receiving here as parameter and apply some text style on it. Then after this, we add another text widget in which we display the value and apply some text style on it, the value which we receive here as parameter. Now this specific build tile widget, we implement this reusable widget, or you can say this reusable function, to display the stats. For example, the label will be, let's say, total number of orders. The number is the value of it, let's say 2 orders, 3 orders, or 0 orders. Similarly, the total number of categories the admin uploaded, the value of it, the total number of products the admin uploaded and the value of it, and so on. So every time when we need to list the stats, that is to display the statistics, we will use this build tile widget. As you know, it is a reusable. So now after this also we need to display buttons, so we will use another reusable widget, or you can say a reusable function, build dashboard button, the return type of which is widget. It will receive the first parameter, which is the icon for that button, or you can say dashboard button. The second one is the label which you want to display on this button, then the on click event, on tap, and then the color which you want to display on this button. So return gesture detector, on tap will be the on tap click event which we are receiving. Child container widget, the width 140, height 120, apply some box decoration with color dot width alpha 25. Color is the parameter receiving here as a parameter. We apply with alpha 25. Then we add border radius circular 18, then box shadow, apply color dot width alpha 77, blur radius offset 0,4. After the box decoration, we add a column widget, main axis alignment dot center. We add an icon and then some space, and then using the text widget we display the label for this button. Let's apply some text style on it, and text align will be center. So this reusable widget, or you can say this reusable function, we will use for displaying buttons on the admin dashboard. So as we have now the reusable functions for the UI, now we can display the buttons, dashboard buttons and tiles. So for example, let's display first the dashboard buttons. So after the app bar and the body, we will do that. So we can say build, we can call this build dashboard reusable function, which is for displaying the UI. And as you see, it required these 4 parameters. So we say icon, the first one is shopping cart icon, label will be orders, and the on tap event, and the color. Now for now we have not yet added routes, or we have not yet implemented these pages. So just add this on tap with this specific keyword, because with the same name we will implement the route for sending the admin to the orders page. Now after this dashboard button, we will add another one for the products. The route name will be products. Then for the promos, now with the promos, if you see, we add arguments key promo true. Now this same button, like this same page basically, which we will implement later on, the same page which we will use for the promos, we will use the same page for the banners. But in case of promo, it will have true value, and in case of banner, it will have false value. And then after it we have categories, and then of course for the coupons. So with the help of our reusable build dashboard button, we build multiple buttons by calling just this function, which help us in writing clean code. Now these are the dashboard buttons which we add inside this wrap widget. The wrap widget works just like a row, so that these dashboard buttons will be in a horizontal direction. Then as you can see, this wrap widget is inside this column widget, which simply means that after this horizontal dashboard buttons, we will have some space and we will display now the tiles, that is the statistics, which will be in perpendicular direction, which simply means like at 90 axis, for example. And that's why also we add a single child scroll view. So in case if your, for example, if the admin laptop screen, or let's say the computer screen is small, then the admin can scroll. So in perpendicular direction with the admin dashboard buttons, we will have the statistics, which is using the tile widget. We will display that. So it will be in perpendicular direction with the statistics, since both of them will be the part of this column widget. And you know that column, the child of column widget, they are in vertical direction, or you can say perpendicular direction. So let's quickly implement that. So this will be according to the screen width, 70%, padding from all side 20. Then we apply some box decoration on it, color deep purple with shade 50, border radius dot circular 16, box shadow color blur radius offset. And then after this decoration, child column widget, cross axis alignment dot start, and we can build tile. So the first tile will be for the displaying the total number of categories uploaded by the admin. So it will have icon, category, level, categories, and then the value we will display. For now we have not yet uploaded any category, so we just give it a hard-coded value 0, or you can assign any for just for the testing purposes. And then of course the color for it. Next is for the total products, then for total orders, the orders not shipped yet, and the orders shipped, orders delivered, and the orders which are cancelled. So with the help of reusable widget, you see that we have implemented multiple tiles by just calling the reusable function, which is build tile. So this is all about our admin dashboard page. Now from the main.dart, we will just call this page as a first page, that is home dashboard page, and then open up the terminal. In order to run or test the web app on your browser, you have to type this command, flutter space run -d space Chrome. Make sure that you have installed Chrome browser in your computer. So then press enter, and it is going to run the app on your web browser. So this is the admin dashboard which we just implemented. These are the reusable dashboard buttons. Which you see here inside the wrap, which means in a horizontal direction we see these buttons. And then after these buttons we display tiles. So we have this, of course, with a box shadow which you see in the background. We have a background with titles display on it. So these are our tiles display on it. And of course it is responsive according to the screen size. If the screen size is small or big, it will adjust automatically according to that. So that's why instead of row widget, we use the wrap widget for the admin dashboards. And of course the tiles, for the tiles we set the width according to the screen width, so that whatever the screen width is, it will take 70% of it, width of it. Now this debug banner, you can remove this badge. On the main.dart, we can, for example, write debug show check mode banner and set this to false. And in the terminal, like from here, you can write press R and it will hot restart.